Hey everybody, we're back and we're back in full force. You know, I was off last week and now I feel quite old, and that's where I'm at today. Yeah.
I mean, you had a birthday.
I had a birthday.
Are you saying you aged more than 7 days?
Yeah, I think I aged a lot this weekend.
Full disclosure, we spent about 30 minutes complaining about all our aches and pains just before we started recording. And then we thought most of you could outdo us, so we thought we would refrain from spilling it. But it's good to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. And like at the very outset, I want to say thank you for all the birthday wishes, but Alana went through surgery and everything went well, and so she's at home recovering and doing good, and so thank you for everybody that kind of helped out and supported and prayed, and we felt very loved by everything that kind of transpired and all the people that kind of came out to help us, so thank you for that. We appreciate it.
We are still sponsorless, so if any coffee company wants to sponsor us, you are welcome to it. But no, we're drinking McDonald's today, which is Burger King's favorite coffee, I learned this week. I thought that was quite enjoyable. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Burger King has this ad campaign, I guess it is, I think in the UK, encouraging you to just get out and support. They said local businesses, but then they list all these multinational companies. But nonetheless, their point was go spend money, buy a coffee from anywhere, even if it's not them, and it keeps people employed. And so I think that was their push. And so, well done, Burger King. Yeah. We thanks for encouraging us to go spend money at McDonald's. That's
thank you.
We're there. And so. Which, have you had Burger King? I can't even say I've had their coffee.
No, never.
We should one day have someone.
We'll have to like a taste test.
Yeah,
a blind taste test.
We'll have to get Ursula or someone to set it up with all the fast food chains, the Burger King, the McDonald's, A&W. Who else has coffee in that zone? Subway, I think for a while.
I think we also
coffee.
Have to go pretty wide. I think we need to go to Sonic, and we need to go to 7-Eleven or something like that, and just check out all the different coffees and see how they're doing. And
then we'll have a tasting of all the. Yeah, I don't know.
This is just to help you all out, and so you know where to spend your money. And if you like the lighter roast, we'll tell you to go to this.
That's right. I saw there's a guy out of the UK. I can't remember his last name, James something, and he does his whole YouTube channel is dedicated to coffee. He runs a coffee roaster. He's won barista championships, all kinds of stuff. And he had this one I was watching the other day where he just went online and he ordered every instant coffee that's available in the UK and had 38 of them and just did a tasting of every one. And it was funny because so many of them, he just takes a sip and is like, ugh. You could just tell he's just revolted. So he's trying to get through it. I have a feeling that might be what we would probably be doing.
Yeah. I think that's why we'd have to space it out.
Sure.
So this week is McDonald's / Burger King. We'll go somewhere else.
We could do a head-to-head bracket thing.
Yeah.
Where we pit Burger King and McDonald's, and then the winner will move on, and we could
have a whole page set up to
next March. That'll be our March Madness. That'll be our March Madness. Will be head-to-head coffee competitions. I think it's. I can just sorry. I paused because in the background is sometimes I'll hear Sheena's voice go, "Who's going to pay for that?" So that's why we need a sponsor. No.
Well, okay. So here's the other thing.
Yeah.
We had yesterday. We had some Seeds of Hope coffee.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Absolutely.
It was wonderful. I quite enjoyed it. So there's another one for the list.
Yeah.
Which you can always buy online, which we would encourage you to.
Absolutely. And that's got to almost be a whole other kind of bracket though, where you go the brew at home, but the what's the word for it? The ethical brew at home, the multinational just kind of take the coffee at the lowest possible price and not worry. So anyways, that might be another bracket for another day, but I do like that idea of the fast food head to head. We'll figure it out. We'll help you out, church. We'll get you there. And no judgment if you like one. I mean, it's all taste. It's all subjective. But anyways, we got some serious stuff to talk about today. Just to move on. I did think it was interesting. If you were watching and part of the service on Sunday, I think Steve, as he led us through kind of a big picture overview of Job, specifically Job 1, referenced God and Job having a coffee talk.
Yeah.
And I thought that was brilliant. Of course, then the whole rest of the sermon, I'm going, when Kevin and I sit down, which of us is Job? Neither of us is Job. What's going on? It was just too confusing.
Yeah. Sorry. It was so good, Steve. I love that point, because actually I think that is what Job did with God, was just they sat down for coffee and they just kind of had it out.
Yeah.
In some way, even though I think God won the conversation. But the whole rest of the service was like, okay, so now we need like a blank chair right here for
I do
God.
feel like we need that. But hopefully we're not saying anything that God would need to show up and correct. Anyways, you know what? The thing about Job is, whenever I reflect on it, the thing that gets me most is I think it stands as a great parable and a great warning. And when I say parable, I don't mean that I'm not trying to suggest that it didn't happen. I mean, I do think it happened. But watch who your friends and your confidants are, and the people who speak into your life, right? Yeah. How derailed Job would have been if he just listened to them and said, yeah, that's the way it is, and walked away. And if that's the way the story ended, it'd have been a tragedy through and through.
Yeah, or even if it just ended with like God not showing up. Yeah. What if God didn't show up? It would have just been the ramblings of a whole bunch of people, old and young, and they just can't figure it out. Right. Now, what I would also say is anybody that was in the seniors study from 2 years ago, when we did walk through Job chapter by chapter, I would encourage you actually to be making some notes and kind of comparing some of the stuff that we talked about 2 years ago, because a lot of it does come down to, what kind of friend are you? Yeah. You know, like, can you see somebody who's in need? And if you go to them, sometimes your counsel is just going to be, hey, I'm going to bring you a meal. I'm going to bring you a coffee. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. I'm just going to put my arm around. And then when there is time, you know, I'm going to encourage you and counsel you, totally. and in the end say exactly what Job said was, you know, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away, and blessed be the name of the Lord through it all. And that's the toughest thing, because we always want to comment, we always want to help, and I would encourage us to not always help.
Yeah, well, and you know what? It brings an interesting parallel. So, youth on Monday night, we're looking at the Beatitudes. And when Jesus says in there, blessed are the mourners, I think the thing that struck out to me of the Beatitudes the most this most recent time reading through was that Jesus isn't just talking about those who have lost someone, but all those of us who can enter into that with someone. Who can, and we, I think, sometimes forget about the practice of being a mourner, which was a little more culturally relevant in that day, where you would just show up and just be there and just sit with people in their grief and in their suffering. Yeah. And I think Jesus isn't just saying, okay, blessed are those who have lost someone. Blessed are those who know how to walk along with others who are suffering. Yeah. And that's something I think that we culturally forget about. You know, we think about funerals maybe as I had a connection to that person, so I'm gonna be there, and not just no, I care about the one who's lost someone. But
would it also even be like that? You know, if you are in that mourning kind of state, that those who come alongside you are kind of a blessing, not just they're part of the blessed, but maybe that even is part of the blessing that comes towards you, is that you have people who walk beside you and who are willing to walk some dark valleys with you, because any situation you face in life is always a whole lot easier with a friend close by. Oh, right? Totally. Yeah. And the first time people start to break down is when they feel alone, when they feel sheltered and secluded and like just solitary. But when you can either be supported, or have somebody actually beside you, like that's, and I think that's also why God made the family.
Oh, totally. Right?
like large and small, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, right? Like that's the kind of people who are necessary to get through some of those deep, dark valleys.
And I think that's why the expression is divide and conquer, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the enemy's great strategy is if I can get you alone, then your whatever darkness you're in is going to be darker when you're all alone in it. And it's a whole lot harder to have victory and get through those times when you're on your own. So
remember we read that book as staff. I know we're kind of hanging here, but I feel like this is good. Remember we read that book as staff called The Church of Facebook.
Yeah.
And the first thing that they talk about is how people have a tendency to actually break down exponentially faster when they're just on their own.
Yeah.
So you can put them together in difficult situations, and they actually can band together and encourage. As soon as you just even separate them, the slightest little whatever can actually throw them off and cause a lot of mental disturbance. And
totally.
And you don't have that even confidence or support even in yourself.
Yeah. I was listening to a book on one of my drives this summer that talks about social media. Specifically, it talks about Facebook, but social media. And I am absolutely blanking on the title of it for the life of me. But one of the main things, it's a couple years old already, but it's interesting how it sort of speaks to where we're at today. And one of the things that's kind of recurring themes that's coming up in this COVID era is that the more isolated people are in terms of being just, if your only connection is social media, if that's how that creates such a greater space for divisive talk, right? Because you can, you don't have faces or people to the things you're saying, and so I think part of why even today feels like such a divisive kind of thing culturally, in our society, is that people have in isolated times even become all that much more isolated, and it's a challenge, but.
And also there's no sense of accountability as well too, right? Like if right now I said something really dumb, you could hold me accountable to that. I think in this completely digital world, it's easy to throw something out there and then walk away and move on and never consider that again, but yet those words kind of stay there, they hang there, right? And so what I think we're trying to say is connect with each other. Make time for connection, not just digital.
Right.
We have a lot of life groups that are looking at each other face to face and working through some stuff. And we heard about another group that's doing Zoom these days, and that's great. Keep going with it. And that's really awesome and really helpful.
Right.
Meet in a backyard, whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's chilly. Build a big fire, and I think that's why it's so great that our province has said, "Hey, identify your safe six, and let that be your group." So you know what? Like, let's celebrate that. We've sort of said, okay, here's someone who's always over, and and it's great, and to have those people, so then you do still have that connection, that face to face, that friendship, if nothing else. And so encourage people with that. Moving right along then, we've already got some shoe boxes back, and that's excellent. So that, just say that as an encouragement. If you've picked up shoe boxes, great, fill them, get them back. We've got 10 days or so to get those in. It's the 4th today, right? So we've got about 10 days to get those in. So fill them up, get them back. If you still need shoe boxes, we have some here. Swing by the office, and we'll get you some. And we'd love to send off a whole whack load of shoe boxes for kids around the world who we want to just say, hey, Jesus loves you, and here's some stuff to encourage you.
And like we said before, like shoebox is one step, but also giving online to Samaritan's Purse as well, I think is another good next step for that as well too.
Absolutely.
Even if you are giving a shoebox, even if you're not, whatever, go online and throw some cash their way.
And they'll pack it for you. And it's, for those especially, if you're like, I'm just not comfortable doing the going, running around and finding stuff, then That's a great option. Absolutely. We got a couple of things coming up just to make you aware of church. First is that this Sunday is the second Sunday of the month, which means we're going to gather in here for an evening of prayer and praise. And so we want to invite you to head over to the Church Center app or go to our website where you sign up for services and other events. And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. But go there and you can sign up for to come and join us. It's a lot about distracting people more than anything. I mean, though, hey, if we had 40 people in here to pray together, that would be amazing. Wouldn't that be wonderful one day to have to turn people away at the door because it was so full? But no, it's that would be a shocker. Anyways, sign up, come join us. We want to. You know what? I feel like there's a big elephant in the room to the south of us, and and I know that some people have. I don't care what your position is. I just know that a lot of people look at what's going on around the world today and are anxious. And there is no greater cure for anxiety than prayer, unless your anxiety is caused by medical or chemical imbalances, in which case it's medication. But prayer for all the other anxieties. So let's come together. Let's pray.
And that's very clear in Philippians 4.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be anxious about anything. Yes. Right? If we're anxious today and tomorrow and the next day, because I think it does affect us as much as I already feel everybody saying, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I know. But I think it does still affect us. And I think that's also another reason to pray. Yep. Because even if it didn't affect us, I think it's still worth praying.
Absolutely. The cure is understanding God is on his throne. Yeah. He's got this. He's in control. What
was that quote that you said the other day?
Oh, yeah. That was I've seen a number of people on Twitter, and 9 of the 10 of them are African American pastors who are just like, look, God's in control. He's got this. Yeah. And it's absolutely true that no election on earth impacts the sovereignty of God. Yeah. And sometimes we forget that. We think, our province is going through an election. Our country is going through an election. And we think, that will somehow make it harder for us. No, it won't. God's in control. Yeah. That doesn't mean he's not going to maybe, allow some things to test us. I mean, we started this by talking about Job. Yeah. But God's ultimately sovereign and in control, and we need to remind ourselves, and prayer and praise is a great way to do that.
Isaiah this morning was saying that, God does have this in control, but God also is able to see a much larger picture because nations have a tendency to say what we're doing right now is the most important thing. And Isaiah says, nations rise and fall, and they're blown side to side just like chaff. Yeah. And God does not throw them away, but he sees how quickly they swirl and fall and rise, and he's got it in his hand.
Totally.
Right? And let's consider that in all these things. So Sunday night, 6:30, sign up online. Yeah.
And so when you go online, there's a few things you're going to notice there. So information went out this week to all the ladies of Lakeview, which, by the way, how is that not the official title of women's events? The Ladies of Lakeview. It just goes together. Anyways, we'll have to put that in the suggestion box. So ladies, if you didn't get an email with all of the information about Christmas events for the ladies of Lakeview, check your junk folder or just contact the office and say, hey, could you make sure I'm on the list? And if you did, then head to the church website, follow the links that were in the email, go sign up. Maybe I didn't get the email because I'm not a lady, so I don't even know what all it says, but be looking for that. And we don't want anyone to miss out on it. And just because you maybe, I don't know, have super tight spam filters or something, just check into that. There is an special event for grade 6, 7, and 8 students, November 13th. It's coming up quick. What else we got going on event-wise down the road? A few things I feel like, but maybe that's.
I hear Christmas is coming.
Christmas, interesting. Yes, I noticed a house had Christmas lights up the other day, and I went, "What?"
We actually noticed some trick or treating.
Did you?
There was a couple that like had Christmas lights up. Great. It was just to light up their house a little bit better.
You know, yeah, we went out on Halloween night just around, and we went to we expanded our walk, if you will, a little bit. And I know people have made a big deal about like Vancouver, South Granville area. We found a neighborhood around the corner from us, and it kind of felt like that. And I'm going,
really? We
got to get out of here.
Yeah.
It was like, there's like drunk people racing a bus down the street. I'm like, this is West Kelowna. What's going on? So I'm like, we gotta go. It was an interesting night, and so
our street was very quiet, so I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
I walked with another dad who we had wanted to get to know, and like that was a plus for me, just being able to connect with people, and everything else about the whole thing, it can come or go. But I really enjoyed just connecting with that other dad.
Halloween's not my thing. I mean, the kids want to go get candy, fine. I saw, and this is what I wish, I have to put this away for next year. There was one house where like the adults just set up like a fire pit in the driveway, and they were just chilling. They were like inviting other adults. Hey, you want to sit down and hang out for a little bit? And I thought, COVID, I'm gonna go. Just give my kid candy that hopefully is disease free. Actually, my kids were like, Dad, are you gonna quarantine all the candy? And I thought, that's a good idea.
In my belly.
I'll wipe it down and then I'll eat it. Anyways, and I thought that was because there is something about the fact that, hey, if our community's all out there on the street, why are we hiding away in dark little houses when you don't have to stand for everything that it stands for to sort of say to people, hey, we're part of this town, and we're here. And I know it's a super divisive issue and not everyone's going to agree with that. That's okay. But there is something about going to people to be mindful of. Anyways, I think that kind of wraps up everything we wanted to share today. Yeah. So we'll go online, sign up for events, and we will see you very soon.